Slashy Dance 2, the emote, gives you around 1 stud of displacement, and by using shift lock in order to put this displacement where the wall is, we can actually go right through it. Then by jumping off of that platform sticking out, which is actually a poster that clips out of balance by mistake, we can get all the way on top of this building, then drop down here, and we're just navigating out of bounds past a ton of levels, which normally take way longer than this. Now, as you just saw, I might not be able to commentate everything exactly as it's happening because this run goes really fast, but I'll try my best, okay? Now, here, there's this lava section. This level and the next upcoming levels for a while don't really have too many skips or interesting tricks, so don't mind if it's a little bit just normal. So here I route around the pipes by jumping around the corners. Basically, it's like how being on the inside of a racetrack is faster, except in a much more unorthodox racetrack, being the pipes. The shape of it's really weird, okay? It was very hard to navigate. But those green pipes, I could jump on them and then just avoid that green stuff instead of dying from it or having to wait for it. Next, there's this gym teacher. Now, this is actually a cutscene. And the thing with this cutscene is it's unskippable. And all the cutscenes in this game are not supposed to be skippable, but some of them are skippable by avoiding the cutscene trigger, which you'll see with this next one. Well, I guess you won't see the cutscene, but you'll see that I skipped it, I think. But there's a base plate out here because when you first make a game in Studio, there's a base plate here, and I guess they just decided not to remove it for whatever reason. Now we can actually jump off of this platform up onto this wall, and normally down there's a cutscene trigger, but instead by navigating out of bounds through the same area, we can actually just go around said cutscene trigger, which is very convenient. Now, normally you're supposed to do a bunch of levels inside this little building. However, what we can do instead is after clipping through this invis wall back in bounds, jump off of this and get up out of bounds here. So that's the second time we got out of bounds without actually clipping, or back in bounds without actually clipping. So anyways, we actually clip back in bounds through the back of this one room, because in that room normally there's a cutscene triggered at the front where this teacher makes a portal that leads to Candyland. And while you'd think we wouldn't be able to get there without the portal, the loading zone to get into Candyland still exists for some reason. I honestly don't know why. Next there's this bridge which you can just jump and then go across that part of the bridge. Pretty easy. And then for the rest of Candyland, there's not really any real tricks. So instead, I'm going to tell you that if you've enjoyed this video enough to keep watching to this point, and you want to be notified whenever I drop more videos like this, then you can actually hit the notification bell, which will notify you every single time I drop a new video. But you do actually have to be subscribed to do it, so that's why you might not see the notification bell immediately. Now here, this is another cutscene that plays right after I enter a loading zone, so there's no real hope of skipping this one unless there's some way around the loading zone. However, this cutscene isn't even that long, only around like 10 seconds, so normally you're supposed to go through that vent and get a key card, which gets rid of those lasers and opens the door, but we can just clip past in this wall here. We can't just clip through the door because of the lasers. Now normally there's something over there that ends up being a threat. There's like some lava parkour or something that appears, but we can just clip past it, so it doesn't even matter. This is the second level that can be skipped, but is actually slower to skip versus actually doing the level normally. Now here, in this stage, there's those caution wet floor signs which actually have collision, and they're actually faster to jump on than doing some of the normal level parkour, which is kind of funny. Then we can dance clip out of bounds here, which allows us to jump up here, then fling jump, which is basically when you flick your avatar a little bit with shift lock like that. It actually makes you jump a little higher up there, and now we're out of bounds. This is just another big string of levels we can skip by just going out of bounds, which is just so cool. Now, upcoming, there's actually a hole on the ceiling up here, so we can just go back in without having to clip. That's the third time we've went in or out of bounds without actually having to clip. Now, here is underwater movement, which I'm gonna be honest, I didn't really practice the underwater movement much or study it because it was a very small part of the run, and it wouldn't even help me to think in other obbies which have completely different water physics, so I didn't even really think about it too much. I'm sure there's probably a way to make this water movement a little bit more efficient, maybe save a few seconds, but nothing that I could find. Here, this water normally makes you trip, but just by constantly jumping, whenever we get tripped, we just jump higher. For some reason, I really don't know how this works, but we can clip out of bounds here, and this is another just big string of levels we can skip. There's a lot of levels you can skip using out of bounds. As you can see, the developers of this game really just, they either knew about this and didn't care, or they just didn't know what dance clip was, which kind of understandable because a lot of people don't know what dance clip is, but it makes for an interesting speedrun, so I'm not complaining. So we can jump off of that geometry, which is kind of weird geometry, but I'll take it because it lets us get up here, and then we can jump down here, and then we can dance clip through this wall, and then up this truss is the trigger to get to the final room. So yes! 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 As you heard, I was kind of excited about getting this record. Also, consider checking out my other speedrun commentary I recently released about Escape Easy Admin Obby. That one doesn't have as many level skips as this one, but it's still an interesting run overall, so I highly recommend you check it out.